thought it's about time, since I talk a lot to myself and when I'm in the garden anyway, that I would film myself doing it. So I'm going to do a little tour of my greenhouse, my small greenhouse. I have two greenhouses. I've got a large one which is mainly for pots, and this one which doesn't have a base, it's just everything gets planted straight into the soil. So this greenhouse was all tomatoes in the spring and the summer, and they all came out mid-September, so about 3 weeks ago, and I started planting winter salads, autumn salads, whatever you want to call it. So there's a lot of Chinese greens and oriental greens and pak choy, etc. I'll take you around them all one by one and show you. So this one that we're looking at now is goosefoot. It's a kind of goosefoot. That's my that's our cockerel in the background. Haven't given us a shout. So this is it's a beautiful ornamental sort of plant. I pinched out the top here. It's just that it bushes out. So this was about the size of my thumb when I planted it, and this is like 3 weeks in. Look at the size of it. It's amazing. Got another one in the back there that was a little bit smaller. But these leaves, when they're small like this, you shove them in beside your baby leaf salad, and they taste really nice. They're actually quite sweet. Got a really nice texture to them. In between these two, because they look very, very small when I planted them, I stuck in some dill. So this is dill. It's multi-sown. There's supposed to be 3 plants in there, but I counted them earlier on. There's actually 5, so there must have been a couple of seeds in there that I missed when I planted it. So wee bonus, they're growing fine. They were tiny when I planted them as well, but they're doing okay. Moving on next, this is wild rocket, I think. It's either salad rocket or it's wild rocket. It's definitely wild rocket, and this has actually been cut twice since it was put in, and the last time it was cut was last Thursday, I think. So last Thursday, we're on, that's 8 days ago. So if you can look and see, I mean, they were cut right back to there last week. So you can see that all the new growths come up on them. They'll probably be ready to cut again next week. And we've got rabbits up there that love it, so, you know, if we can't eat it, they will. Excellent, beautiful. Over next to these, we've got 2 Japanese plants, 2 kinds of Japanese leaf. These are Misuoka, which are really nice. These are like a good example. I've got smaller ones in my big greenhouse in pots, and outside on my raised bed under fleece I've got ones that are a lot bigger than this that have been in for a bit longer, but they're really nice. You basically cut them the same way as rocket. You can take them a leaf at a time, or you can just grab them and cut across. Make sure you don't cut the little leaves, and they'll just come back. They're amazing. And Mibuna as well. Mibuna, when you take the leaf at this size, it's very spicy, it's very peppery. When you leave it to get a little bit bigger, it's more spinachy, and it loses that bite, but it's still really nice. I made a quiche with this 2 weeks ago, and it was really good. I'll do this again. At the back there's another Misuoka, so I've got 2 of them in here. Just move my seed tray out of the way. And I'll move over to show you what's next. Next we're moving into mustard territory. So these ones here are a variety called 9-headed bird. I really like these. These are multi-sown as well, so there's 2 per module. I just usually stick 2 in next to each other. Now I've grown, this is about the 4th time this year that I've planted these. These are the first in the greenhouse. I've got raised beds full of these that also have these in them, and I have beds under netting that I put these in probably back in June, and they started flowering and they bolted really quickly, and they do, but the plants are absolutely enormous now and they're still growing, and you can still take these big leaves off them for cooking. When the leaves are, I think I've got a little rule about these, when the leaves are small and shiny like this, they're very spicy. And stick a couple of them in your salads, along with your goose fruit and other things. And the bigger ones, when the leaves are shiny and they start getting a little bit dull, they're more for like cooking or pickling or whatever you want to do. Next to these, we have another kind of mustard which is quite hard to pick out against the background, so I'll put my hand underneath it. This is red frills. Again, this isn't the first time I've planted this year. I've got more actually outside the greenhouse over there. You can't see it for the streaky windows. The ones outside are a lot smaller, obviously, because of the time of year we're at. But they're also same rule as these ones. When the leaves are small, like that, they're very spicy. When they're bigger, you can chop them up and put them in a salad still. You don't need to cook these ones, I don't think. They're actually okay. Next to them is one that is also advertised as a mustard. You get a lot of variance in these ones actually. These are golden frills. They're you look at them when they're very small, they're very frilly like that. So they go very frilly. And as they get bigger, as you can see from this one, they can flatten out a little bit. But then when they get bigger again, and you start getting down to, you start harvesting the first leaves, they start getting frilly again as they get bigger. But this one's kind of misnamed a little bit. It's not really a mustard. It's more of a kale. It's a cross between a mustard and a kale, but I think, as you can see for this one, the kale is kind of predominant in it. I almost had a bit of a nibble out of it, actually. You might see in the video, there's a spider crawling around the background. I think they take care of the nibblers, because I don't see many of them about. I've got bigger ones of these as well. The leaves can get to about 1.5 feet long, and that was outdoors during the summer. These are very bolt resistant, they don't bolt the same way these and those do. So the ones out there were really big, but when the stalks get thick, obviously you just tear the leaves off of the greenery off of the stalk and stick it through a salad. And it's really nice, it spices it up a little bit. It's not too spicy, this one, but it's flavourful and it's attractive as well. Really nice in the garden. Next to that, we have two of our varieties of pak choi that I've been growing this year. I've had some almighty huge plants of these. They get very big if you let them. The ones I was growing outside under netting got very big. We ate one of them and it was lovely. Very, very stringy, as you would expect from pak choi. You know, it can be quite stringy and tough, but you chop it up into small enough pieces. This one's actually very colourful, because when it gets to full size, these leaves will darken up. The leaves will darken up, as you can see for this one here. The stalk goes a deep sort of purple colour. They're very nice, ornamental as well as tasty. For some reason this one's got little nodules on the leaves. I don't know what that's about. Maybe just a little bit of variance in the variety, because they'll do look a little bit different. This one here isn't the same as these. This isn't a vibrant joy pak choi. This is a green boy pak choi. So this is a very sort of young stage. They also get very big. So take them out when they're early. If you've got chickens and you're growing too much pak choi, hand them out to the chickens. Obviously these are doing really well in here. In here there's no slugs. Slugs absolutely love this stuff, and the ones that I've planted outside that weren't under netting and that weren't protected got a little bit eaten, shall we say. Over here you see like a little bit of that's a kale, that's a red ruby kale. It's not the only one, that's not the first planting that got planted in there. I had a cucumber plant here in the greenhouse that came out a lot later after all these were planted. So that's just went in there recently since that came out, and I think that was only about a week and a half ago that came out. These are the ones that I planted originally when everything else here went in. You can see they're big, beautiful size. They're lovely. They're really sort of thick leaf. They've got a very nice texture. I've already picked some of these leaves, not from these plants. I have ones in my big greenhouse again in sort of pots that I've picked and put into some some salads, they're nice chopped up in salads. But yeah, moving on. At the back of those, this is sorrel. So I don't know if I was planting it out of season or not, but I thought I'd give it a go anyway. We'll stick the sorrel in, and it seems to be doing well. I mean, I planted that in there, it was very small, it was just virtually seedling stage, only like 1 or 2 leaves. But again, these are ones that are multi-sown, so there's probably 2 or 3 plants in there. 2 in there, and 3 in there, I think, in that one. I've already picked a couple of the leaves off it just to taste them, and oh wow, very lemony, very nice. Over here we've got a Tom Thumb lettuce, which I got free when I ordered seeds from Rare Seeds in America. They gave us this little packet of Tom Thumb seeds. So I've got some of them in my big greenhouse in pots, growing, see what they're like. That's the last cucumber of the plant, by the way. Needs to go in the composter. So that only germinated about a week ago. So you can see it's actually, they're very fast growing. This one in here is very fast growing. The ones, I've got more over here that I'll show you that were planted before this that are a wee bit further on. But next to, over here in this corner, we had Katsuona, and that's what was in here as well. So these are just planted. We had 2 large Japanese Katsuonas in there, which I took home at the weekend and pickled and had for tea last night, pickled with chili and rice wine vinegar and soy sauce. It's a Japanese recipe, very nice, really enjoyed that. Moving on, next to the kale, we've got more green boy pak choi, and look at those plants, they're absolutely beautiful in here. As I said before, if these were outside, the slugs would have holed them everywhere, and there wouldn't be much left of them. And they'd be a lot smaller. They're growing at an enormous freaky rate. Just to show you the contrast, in between the two of them I stuck some endive, and they were planted at the same time, at the same size. So there you go. The pak choi like it in here. The endive, it's just started to catch on, so maybe it'll catch up a little bit, we'll see, I don't know. It's the first time I've ever grown it, so we'll figure it out. And next to that we've got lettuce. So we've got 3 rows of lettuce here. This is green Batavia. So this is the kind that, you know, really nice texture to it, it's really good. This is actually ready for a pick. I could probably pick the outer leaves of these for a salad, along with those and make a really nice salad for 2 people, 3 people. And they will grow back, they'll just keep growing back, and they'll probably last right through, I don't know, maybe even through the winter if we're lucky, if we get a mild one. Just picking out off the outer leaves as we go, and they'll have a quite long lifespan. The same story with these are Lolorosa, although they're growing very different. There's a bit of variance again. I don't know if this is maybe just the soil in here. This part of the soil is very close to the path. The path is very compacted. When the tomatoes were in here, it wasn't mulched like it is now with compost. So, by the way, this mulch here is this is just manure. So this is about probably 2 inches of animal manure, chicken manure, which I bought in bags. So they're all in the ground, and after that had been down for a couple of days. All that stuff about manure burning roots, myth. Okay. Next to that we have, I'll just move that out. I'll show you these, by the way, what I'm doing here. These are seed trays that I'm moving about, but I'll get to those in a minute. So this one here is devil's tongue. It's a kind of lettuce. It's I forget the type. The name is escaping me at the minute, but these ones you can take the leaves from, the outer leaves as well. They'll head up eventually if you leave them to head up, but we don't want to do that. We'll keep them going as long as we can, along with these and these, and get weekend salads all the way through the winter. Speaking of weekend salads all the way through the winter, we can also do that with this. This is spinach. This is a small variety of spinach. I think it's called cello. These ones, when I put them outside in the summer, they bolted very quickly. They grew very long, They're very long, thin, with lots of little leaves on them, and 2 of them died very quickly. But they seem to like it in here. I've got another kind of spinach out in the garden. It's a kind called the name will come to me eventually. I'll come back to it. They're a giant spinach though. So they grow, they're big, like arrow-shaped leaves that are about probably the size of my hand, and they're very crunchy. But these ones are actually, we'll pick these the first time we pick all these leaves, we'll pick some of them and put them in the salad. Next those is the Tom Thumb lettuces, that little one over there. These ones were planted before that, so these are a little bit further on. Now these are going to make little heads. I think they're just the tiny little butterhead sort of lettuce, and they should be ready before these. These are winter density lettuce, and I've got some success with these outside. I've got 4 of them sitting down in one of my covered beds, and they're doing very well. Only one of them's been a little bit eaten, but they look very dense, as the name would suggest, winter density. Now those ones are all probably about ready to cut, and I will be probably cutting them in the next week or so. We'll have a plan a salad meal one night. But these ones should go probably up till about Christmas, so hopefully we're in the greenhouse, so these ones can survive outside at this time of year, so they're quite happy outside, hence the name winter density. But we'll see how they get on in here, and they've done very well. I mean, they basically were that size when I put them in, and that was 2 weeks ago, so look at them now. Next thing over here, this is a kind of mustard. I planted some of them in pots in my other greenhouse, and I had one left over and I thought I'd buy it in here. This is a Misuoka mustard, I think it's called. I could probably stick something across the top of this video just in case that's wrong. And that one I went in a few days ago. Once I'd planted the other ones in the pot through there, I thought, you know, it's a shame just to leave that one in the thing, so I just thought, I want to plant it in between these. These are quite fast growing things, so I'll just pick them for baby leaves and keep it small while these trundle on. And next to that we have coriander, and we'll use a lot of coriander. I might actually I've got more coriander growing in the garden, so I might let these go to seed actually and collect the seeds. We'll see. But these are also multi-sown. You can see there's like clumps of them in there, so there's probably 4 plants in each clump. They'll quite happily do it. Oh, they smell lovely. I just touched that there and the smell just wafted up. Really nice. I like my herbs. So coriander and dill I've got in the greenhouse. So that's basically the tour of the greenhouse. All that we've got left to do is show you what I've been tripping up over all the time I've been in here. In fact, these all fell over. I'll pick them up again. These are broad beans, which I'm planting now. There's 2 different varieties here. There's Aqua Dolce, which I've been recommended, a lot of people say it's really good for through the winter. It's a very early variety in the spring. It's very good. I've had some success with broad beans. I grew them completely out of season, but still managed to get some pods this year, which was nice. These are another variety here, so I've got 12 of each. This one here is Karmazin, which produces a kind of a red broad bean. You see one starting to poke through there, and you can see that's the actual colour the broad beans come out of the pods, so that should be interesting. Over here, in our other seed tray, we have peas. So these are multi-sown meteor peas. They're a dwarf variety. I had them in here in the spring and they cropped massively. We've got bags of peas in the freezer that'll probably last us until these ones are ready. So these will overwinter hopefully, and we'll get them in the spring. So that's my greenhouse, my small greenhouse. A lot of stuff going on. I mean, it's October. Today's actually October the 16th. So you can see the size of these plants. They're not going anywhere soon. So all those people that pull black tarpaulin over their plots at the first sign of frost and bugger off home until the summertime, let this be a sort of lesson to you. You don't have to give up now, you know. You can carry on going. I mean, look outside there, you could probably just make out I've still got a red cabbage in the ground there that's going to need to come out. At the back of the greenhouse there, you'll see onions that I just planted. So they're multi-sown onions. They're a type called Tough Ball, and there's 90 something of them. So we'll see how many of them come through this summer. I'll do another video on them in another couple of days. There's still a bit of work to go on there. Still a few beds to go in round the back. But I'll make another video and let you know how that goes. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Stay safe and keep growing stuff. Bye bye.